I'm like on the GPS, and it's just like, I'm like, I know the way I want to go. I'm not going the way you want me to go. We're going to end up at the same spot probably, but
Yeah.
and then I don't know if this ever happened to you, but you do that, and then there's like a bridge out, and it's just like, if I would have just listened to you the first time, we would be there. I would have saved 10 minutes, but I was too stubborn to
actually obey.
Like, there's no way this piece of technology knows more than I do.
Welcome to the Hey Brother podcast, where Catholic men share about real struggles like addiction, self-doubt, and isolation. I'm Nick Clooney, your host, a Catholic psych mentor and the founder of Crafted for More, a mentorship practice dedicated to helping men live more radically free lives. Each week, I sit down with a man to hear his story about how brotherhood has shaped him, the struggles he's facing, and where he wants to grow. In addition to our weekly interviews, I share conversations with my brother Mitch and give you a look into our brotherhood as we strive to become the men that God has made us to be. If you're new here, please subscribe and follow so we can walk this journey together. We want your help to build a stronger, authentic Catholic brotherhood. So grab a seat, brother, and remember, you're not alone. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Hey Brother podcast. If you've been joining us for a while, typically these First Thoughts episodes come out on the Friday after the interview. Me and Mitch talked about it, and we decided that we wanted to release the First Thoughts episodes 24 hours after the interview that we do with guys. That way, it's really, truly us welcoming you guys into that first conversation, your first thoughts about the interview that just took place. And so the last one we just listened to was Bobby, and so you're about to hear that one. But I wanted to let you guys know a little bit about the change up in the format. We're still planning to do episodes on Fridays as well, but we're changing that up a little bit, and I'm super excited to introduce a new segment. Just a little teaser for that, but a new segment will be coming this Friday on, what is it, today's February 17th, February 21st. So be on the lookout for that, a new segment of the Hey Brother podcast. That hopefully can provide a little more intentionality. And as always, we are here to listen to you guys and get your feedback on how to improve this podcast. So without further ado, here's First Thoughts with my brother Mitch on a conversation that we had talking about Bobby's interview. I think this will be better video-wise. I had like 4 or 5 apps pulled up in the background that were eating some RAM that I didn't realize.
Especially when half your RAM's unplugged.
Yeah. It was like, because the other night I like went to sit down like with my laptop, and like I put it down, and something popped, and then my computer shut off. And I'm like, fun. That was probably when it got dislodged. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Do you have any house projects that refuse to resolve themselves?
Any house projects that refuse to resolve themselves?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Let me tell you the saga of my shower.
Okay.
When we moved into my house about 2 years ago, one of the showers like didn't work, and
Sure.
I check it out, and the valve needed replacing.
Okay.
And
like to turn the off and on.
Yeah, like the cartridge valve. That's like that. Yeah, I opened it, and like there was like a big bend in it, and I'm like, how the heck did this even happen?
Yeah.
But I pulled it out, and then I took it to the store and bought a new valve.
Okay.
And then I like turned the handle again, and it like still wasn't working. And then I like pulled on it, and then it worked because it was like a push-pull valve. But
Okay.
So it started working again. But I'm like, this is weird. Because the handle on it was meant for like a regular, like, you turn it over and the shower turns on, not a
Sure.
push pull. And then that was fine for a while, but then the handle popped off one day because of how it was like the style of handle was just wrong, and then it popped off, and I'm like, well, this is annoying, and I got it to sit back on. Until the other day, and it popped off again, and then it wanted set on again. And so then I'm like, dang it, why are people stupid? Like, why did they put the wrong cartridge in and put the wrong handle on it? And then, anyhow, I finally get I replaced the handle and I put the proper kind of handle on it.
Okay.
So like the actual push pull valve, like it screws into the valve instead of just like setting to the side of it.
Yeah.
And I pulled out, and then I got my like done with it, and then I looked at it, and now the hot water is on the cold water side, and the cold water is on the hot water side. And I'm like, I don't know, like you can't just flip it around because like however you rotate it, it's gonna rotate like the way it wants to go, and it's just always gonna be wrong. And I'm like, okay, well it's better now, but it's still like 2 years into it, this shower is still just annoying me, minorly inconveniencing me, but still like not fully resolved.
Now you have sympathy though on like those shower situations where you show up and like it's like, why the heck is this backwards?
Yeah.
Right. Like it's like because like it just got too complicated. like
yeah, right.
It needed to be backwards.
Yeah, and now like if that's like where our guest bathroom is too. So now if anyone comes over, I gotta like give a 10-minute presentation on how to operate the freaking shower.
That was a wild time on net. I always encountered a new shower like each night, and it was like sometimes I was like, I really don't know what I'm doing here.
Switching it between bathtub mode and shower mode is sometimes the hardest feat.
Yeah, right. There's a freaking button that came out of the wall. I kind of hit that 2 times, and then the shower head started working. I don't know. Yeah.
Let's get into Bobby. You have any?
Bobby Angel, yeah. I liked your first reaction to, hey, I interviewed Bobby Angel. Do you know him? Because he's like popular in the Catholic world, like with Ascension Presents. And you're like, what did you like? The musician, not musician, but the
magician.
The magician. Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was.
But
and then I'm like, I was driving to work yesterday, and I heard an ad, and it was like plugging, like I was listening to Catholic radio, and it was plugging about how Bobby Angel is going to be one of the guest speakers at this thing. And I'm like, oh,
there he is.
I know him.
Yeah, he's coming to E6, which is like
that's what it was.
Men's conference in like Indiana. So yeah, that's good.
That's funny. And this is kind of like off the wall, but one of the first things that that he talked about that kind of struck me was, I think he was talking about how he was going through like the Catholic psych thing,
right,
in his cohort, and at one point he was like asking about progress that he had been making, like as a person through that program.
Sure.
And he said like that he checked in with his wife Jackie, and like he's like, how am I growing, or something to that effect.
Okay.
And I guess it stuck out to me because I had a similar thing happen because I was doing Exodus 90, and at one point I think it was like day 60-ish.
Okay, wow, so pretty far in.
Yeah, it asks you to do a similar thing. It's just like, hey, talk to someone that you're close to, and ask them how you've been growing during this time.
Yeah. And
like, I ended up talking to like one of my friends that we went to adoration at like almost every morning together. Okay. And there was like a little carpool of us, and I think I was just it happened that it was just me and her going the one day, and then I like had that opportunity to ask her. I'm like, hey, I've been doing this thing for a while. Am I like being a better person? And like that just opened up a really cool conversation where she's like, yeah, no, like for real.
Yeah.
And so I guess like my encouragement to like the guys out there is to like, if you're like doing like a life-changing event thing, like ask the people around you on like how you're changing, because what they say might surprise you, and like
having that extra perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can be really encouraging to.
Yeah. And I think that's like Bobby like alluded to that in his experience with Catholic Psych, and like what Jackie was able to see in him.
Yeah.
Like becoming a better husband, becoming a better dad in a lot of ways. And it's good. Yeah. To have that.
It's really nice to hear, because like sometimes you like kind of like focus in on how you're doing and how you're growing, and like, you know, it's kind of like seeing like a nephew or something every once in a while when or like versus your own kid. When you live with someone, like you don't see how they change, right?
Sure.
But like if you see like your niece or your nephew like once every like 4 months, it's just like, especially when they're real young, it's like a completely different person.
Yeah.
Like last time I saw you, you were like crawling in diapers, and now you're like a kid that's running. Like
Yeah. And saying some words even maybe.
yeah, and I think that can be a similar effect that can happen.
Yeah, getting that authentic, real feedback from people, and seeing yourself, like, because you're saying like seeing yourself in a new light. Well, people see you in a different light, and
right?
Are they able to reflect that and
Yeah.
and see? Yeah, I think that's huge. Like, I think it's good to actually seek that kind of affirmation from people. Like, it's like we're not like seeking. It's good to seek affirmation, right? We're not seeking vainglory, right? We're not seeking comments to like blow up the ego, right? But to actually like get a good idea of like where am I at, right? And when people affirm that, it's good. What are you thinking about?
Michael Scott. I like to be liked. I don't need to be liked. I need to be praised.
Yeah. Right.
But not that. Well, that's not what we're talking about.
Right. Well, because like, what is affirmation?
Yeah.
Affirmation is like affirming the good that you see, right? Like you're like affirming like sometimes you're affirming the deepest truth of a person, like when you're able to like speak into that like identity and dignity like somebody has, and like we should seek that out at times.
Yeah.
Like or maybe all the time. like to be affirmed in our identity. Like how much good that does to us as men, and then our ability to actually
and that's what I'm saying too from my experience, especially when you're actively trying to improve upon that, and you don't always have that gauge. It's really good to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
what else from Bobby's interview? Kind of
his whole he had a really cool story about how the public speaking. He wanted to improve on it because he was going to be a priest, right?
Right.
And then, like, it's just crazy how, like, God can, like, let us work on skills.
Yeah.
And for what we think is, like, our plan. And then, like, really, it ended up being he needed to be good at public speaking as a married person.
Right.
Contradictory to what he thought was going to happen. And then he's, like, is now apparently famous.
Apparently. To everyone except Mitch and the Catholic world. Yeah. I mean, like, I think that is, like, it's God's providence, right? Like, it comes around and, like, it shows up in a lot of wacky ways. And I think that was, like, the one thing that, like, came through to me in Bobby's interview, like, just talking to him, like, just, like, the amount of, like, twists and turns, like, and how God makes it all work together. And his GPS analogy in the interview was good.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Like, the next, take a left. It's like, I want to go straight. Okay, but you're gonna need to go left at some point, right? Yeah. If you actually want to get to where you want to go, and
that's so relatable, because there's like even times where I'm like on the GPS and it's just like I'm like, I know the way I want to go. I'm not going the way you want me to go. We're gonna end up at the same spot probably, but
yeah.
And then I don't know if this ever happened to you, but you do that and then there's like a bridge out, and it's just like, if I would have just listened to you the first time, we would be there. I would have saved 10 minutes, but I was too stubborn to
actually obey.
There's no way this piece of technology knows more than I do.
more office quotes there, right? Yeah. I think you subconsciously quoted the office there. Yeah. In that case, the GPS didn't know more and turns into the lake.
It told me to turn right.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's like every analogy breaks down at some point, but it's like, if you're a man looking to grow in freedom, whether that's freedom from porn, strengthening your faith, or building better habits, you don't have to do it alone. I started Men Striving for More, an online community where Catholic men push each other to grow through brotherhood, accountability, and real conversations. Plus, we've got exclusive content just for members. Right now, I'm giving the first 100 members free lifetime access to the community. If you're serious about growing in virtue and finding solid brothers to walk with you, join me and Mitch and a group of great men on the Discord server today. The link's in the description, or just comment community below and I'll send the details straight to you. Now back to the episode.
Even in that, like, there's like an honoring of our free will, right? There's always like the free will to choose, like
To willingly drive into a lake.
yeah, exactly.
This is a quick aside, but like that was based on a true story. That
Episode of The Office.
yeah.
Interesting. Where
Where Michael drives into a lake because the GPS told him to.
yeah, they like pulled that from like some news story, and
Yeah, it wasn't a lake. It was some guy that almost drove off a cliff.
wow, dang, that's nuts.
Yeah, like to the point where like one of his tires was overhanging the cliff, and then he had to crawl out the back.
Dang, that's
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Wow.
Life's harder when you're stupid.
We just blind trust, blind
Yeah,
faith.
I guess so.
Man, what? So, Bobby, going back to Bobby's interview, I always have to distinguish what Bobby I'm talking about because I work with Bobby Angel in the Catholic Psych world, and then Bobby Kenny
Yeah.
from the first
The-
Hey Brother episode.
When you were talking about Bobby in a different episode, and I was like, "Who are you talking about right now?" But
I was talking about Bobby Angel.
no, you
Or
were
was
talking
it
about Bobby Kenny.
Yeah.
And
It
I
gets
thought you were
confusing.
talking about Bobby Angel, and then like halfway through what you were saying, it clicked. I'm like, "Oh no, this is different Bobby."
Yeah.
But anyhow,
Yeah. With him, I'm trying to remember what he said that he what area he wanted to grow in.
he said chastity,
Okay, yeah.
and then pride in an interesting way, like not helping himself out.
Yeah.
So like, do you remember? I guess like kind of the details on that are slipping my mind,
How he wanted to grow.
and like the pride
Pride.
part of it.
Yeah, it's something to the effect of like
Oh, excuse me, that was gross.
letting go control. And yeah, just
The important part was that he's praying the litany of humility,
that's the important part. Yeah.
and hot dog, that guy is brave.
Yeah. I mean, letting the humility is great.
Yeah,
That's-
I think I prayed it one Lent, and I like couldn't wait until I was done praying that prayer. It is a scary prayer.
Yeah. There's like a couple lines on there that like, yeah, just get you.
For anyone that hasn't prayed it before, calumnity or something like that,
Oh, sure.
calumniate it, means slandering. So
Yeah.
I always like
deliver me from culmination.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I remember praying it for like a week and like getting super distracted by that line because I'm like, I have no idea what that means.
It's a root word, culinary.
From the fear of getting food poisoned.
Yeah, maybe it's not saying that. Oh man, but I mean, yeah, I think like, it's a great example. Like wanting to grow in both humility and then like chastity, like baseline things as guys to grow in. And yeah, something I want to encourage guys to start posting below in the comments is like, what areas do you guys want to grow in? It's something that I always challenge people to talk about in our interviews, but it's like I want to hear from you, the people listening to this, and so talk about it down in the comments. Like, what areas do you feel most called to grow in? Like, what is one? And you don't have to list the whole thing, right? But like, what is one area you want to grow in? Leave that below. Leave your thoughts on Bobby's interview below as well, and join that conversation. And we'll catch you guys next time. God bless.